We're back. This is Pokémon IRL. My name is Cody, and I will be taking you on exciting but brief journeys through the science and natural history that inspired the world of Pokémon. Today's episode, a spooky Halloween edition. We're going to be talking about Misdreavus here at one of the most haunted places in Arizona, Jerome Grand Hotel. Let's start with the Pokédex entry. It loves to watch people it's scared. It frightens them by screaming loudly or appearing suddenly. So that's Misdreavus. The Japanese name seems to hint at an origin of a demon in a dream or something like that. So now I'm going to tell you a real-life story, a ghost story. It goes something like this. So when I was younger, I was in a new house. I was probably about 8, and I didn't like the house very much. It seemed kind of scary, and so it was the middle of the night, and I woke up. So I don't know, I was going to get water or something, and I sat up in bed on the side of my bed, and I looked to my right where my closet was and the door, and there was just something floating there. Probably a couple feet off the ground. It was short, like a baby, but it was a full-grown adult something. It was a ghost. It had this long flowy dress and hair, and it seemed to have like glowing red eyes, and I saw it, and right away I just wanted to scream. I wanted to run from it, and I couldn't. As soon as I saw it, I was frozen. I couldn't move, and I couldn't scream. I was trying to, and it just wouldn't come out. It was completely paralyzed, and eventually, after what seemed like minutes, I could finally scream. I could get it out, and so I just screamed as loud as I could, and as soon as I screamed, it disappeared. It seemed like it was disappeared behind my closet door, and my parents came running in, and they, asked what happened. And I saw a ghost. That's what happened, and I didn't sleep for like 2 nights. It was the most terrifying thing, and for years I hated sleeping in that room. Eventually, when I grew up, I did find an explanation. It's this thing called sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is this phenomenon where you're in REM sleep, you're in the state where you can dream and things like that, and you suddenly wake up. Usually it's at the beginning or the end of one's sleep. And in REM sleep, your body paralyzes itself so that you don't injure yourself by acting out in your dreams. And so if you become aware in the state, sometimes your body hasn't completely adjusted to being awake yet, and you can actually hallucinate, you can dream while actually being in the real world and aware of what's in the real world, but you generally can't move, which is exactly what I experienced. And you'll see stories of this throughout cultures all over the place. And always what someone sees is dependent on the culture. Everything from alien abductions to banshees or demons or witches, ghosts. And generally it's something negative that you see. And that makes sense. I mean, how we evolved. We could either make a type 1 or a type 2 air. We make a type 1 air, we hear a rustle in the grass. We might assume, oh my god, there's a lion or a tiger, and get out of there. And we may well have been wrong, which would be where the air comes in. But that might also save us in a situation where there was something. Whereas the type 2 air, a false negative, we could hear the rustle and ignore it or neglect it, and that could very well be the end of that individual and their genes, and those aren't going to get passed on. So there tends to be this intrinsic negativity almost in the way we handle situations like that. As humans, we hear a noise or we're in an uncomfortable situation, and our mind tends to go to these dark places. So it makes sense.
Have you experienced any kind of sleep paralysis ever again?
Yeah, so I once recently, just a couple months ago, I didn't see a ghost or anything. I kind of wonder if my subconscious will even go there now that I'm pretty skeptically minded. I think maybe you have to be kind of open to that stuff or kind of believe to maybe see that. But what I did see was someone standing over my bed just staring me right in the eyes. Pretty creepy. And I was, felt like I was in shock, so I couldn't move or react. And then when I could, I kicked at him and instantly was gone, disappeared. Wasn't really there. And so in hindsight, it seems more likely that it was not the shock. It was sleep paralysis again. So, it does happen. I've heard it said, I don't know how true this is, but that maybe on average it happens about 2 times in a person's lifetime. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to hallucinate during it. And supposedly it's more common in people with like narcolepsy and things like that. But yeah, and by the way, YouTube, if you guys have had any experiences with sleep paralysis, I'd be totally interested to hear about it. So, leave a comment, talk about it below. And this has been Pokemon in Real Life.